Well, good morning. The purpose of the press conference today is to talk about a Illinois bill that's being introduced in the Illinois State Legislature by the Illinois Policy Action Group concerning, or supported by them, sorry, that is concerning transparency in local governments. The portion I have on it is I'm the Republican candidate for Tazewell County Clerk. Transparency is something that I have stressed needs to be improved with Tazewell County government. In 2008, when I was first elected to the county board, the county's website was graded by the Illinois Policy Action Group as one of the worst in the state of Illinois. I had made it a campaign pledge that I would improve transparency of Tazewell County government, and as such, in 2009, I initiated my own website after the board was slow to take action to make more county government information available via websites. Where we're at today, since that point, others saw then that information was not only vital, but was needed to be updated and needed to be out there for people to utilize. So the county board did take action, and where we're at today is Tazewell County is the 23rd out of 102 counties as far as grading by the Illinois Policy Action Group of transparency. That is about as far as the Tazewell County Board can take it. The remainder to be made up needs to be done by countywide elected officials, mainly the Tazewell County Clerk's Office, which is why I'm not running for re-election to Tazewell County Board, but running for Tazewell County Clerk. It is my pledge to the taxpayers that that is something I will improve. I will make Tazewell County Clerk's Office one of the most transparent in the state of Illinois, and I will bring our grades up so it's at a respectable level for you. Our rate right now, they have a 100-point scale, and we're graded at a 46. So while we might be the 23rd best in the state of Illinois, some could look at that and say, hey, that's something to be proud of. If your grade's still an F, 46 out of 100 is still an F, then it's not good enough. It needs to be improved. There are comparable counties to us: McLean, Peoria, Sangamon, Champaign is my favorite. Those comparable counties are above us. Their score is much higher than ours, and that is what I will be striving to accomplish as Tazewell County Clerk. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Brian, so Brian can talk about what exactly the bill is going to cover and what they're doing, and then we'll take some questions from the crowd.
All right. Thanks, John. I appreciate it. My name is Brian Costin. I'm the Director of Government Reform at Illinois Policy Action. And I'd like to thank John Ackerman for inviting us out here today to talk about the issue of local government transparency. We think it's a very important issue, and we love it when local government officials take leadership on this issue because it's a very important one. No matter how you feel about government spending, I think everyone should agree that the people have a right to know how their tax money is being spent. Proactive online transparency gives the citizens the opportunity to be educated participants in their democracy and fight against government corruption and wasteful spending. The state of Illinois sends about $20 billion a year to local governments across the state. There's 6,000, almost 7,000 local government agencies that receive this money. But without online transparency, citizens can't hold those local taxing bodies accountable for how those tax dollars are being spent. This leaves Illinois vulnerable to high levels of fraud, waste, and corruption of public resources. State and local government corruption is estimated to cost Illinois taxpayers a minimum of $500 million a year, and we're ranked as the third most corrupt state in the nation. Fraud experts believe that online transparency is one of the very best tools we can use to combat corruption and wasteful spending of government. Unfortunately, no comprehensive standards exist for local governments in the state of Illinois when it comes to posting information online. This has led to huge discrepancies between communities and counties on how much information is online and how responsible they are with posting this information for their citizens to find. For example, the city of Peoria has a very good online transparency score. We've worked hand in hand with them over the last few years, and they've earned our Sunshine Award. But a lot of other places are doing very poorly, including some of the local counties who are failing our transparency checklist. Clearly, much higher standards need to be met in Illinois. Our solution is the Local Government Transparency Act. Technology has created an unprecedented opportunity for governments of all sizes to make information publicly available at virtually no incremental cost. The Local Government Transparency Act currently is in a number of different forms. There's 5 different bills circulating right now. The primary one is House Bill 5861, and that is sponsored by Jeannie Ives of Wheaton, Illinois. There's a couple other ones that are circulating both in the House and the Senate, but the principles are pretty much the same. Having contact information, public meeting information, how to file a Freedom of Information Act request, posting budgets and audits online, as well as expenditures, employee compensation and contracts, lobbying information, taxes, ordinances, zoning permit procedures, debt disclosure report, public notices, and a searchable revenue and expenditure database is what we're asking the state of Illinois and the General Assembly to approve. We think that this will be a tremendous asset to the state of Illinois and its taxpayers. It'll give citizens the ability to participate in an educated manner with their local government. We also think it's going to be the best corruption fighting tool that our state can offer at this time, and a state that really, really desperately needs this. So with that, I'd like to take any questions from the audience in regards to that, and invite John back up as well.
What has been the holdup with getting this particular issue approved in the legislature?
Sure. So this is the 4th year that we have had legislation introduced in Springfield that would require comprehensive standards for local government transparency. Typically, what happens with these transparency type of bills is that the process is slowed down by people that might not want to be transparent. There's a lot of former local government officials in Springfield, but one of the promising things that we see is that once we get it to the stage of a vote by the full General Assembly, typically these types of bills garner unanimous support. This year, last year we did have bipartisan support, both Republicans and Democrats supported it, and we're seeing the same things happen this year. So we're very enthusiastic that this is going to be the year that we pass this bill.
You know, on a local level, I have in the past complained about and in the past objected to unfunded mandates. This could be labeled as one such one. The difference I see between others and this is that this is basic information that should already be accessible to the taxpayers that is not. And this is information that will help the taxpayers hold their elected officials responsible for their actions. Without it, you allow for, like he said, an era of corruption to continue going forward. And the cost of it is pretty much, in most cases, next to nothing. It's just a different mindset of the elected officials to, rather than hide information or try to keep things in-house, to disclose them and make them more transparent. An example with our own body, the Tazewell County Board. If you go out and you take a look for what votes we take at our board meetings, you won't be able to find it online. For our county clerk, the difference would be where now she records the minutes on a piece of paper, each vote on a piece of paper. She's assigned a laptop. She's assigned an iPad. Those have already been financed. They're sitting in her office. She uses them during the meeting. You just simply type it into one of those devices, into a spreadsheet, and you upload it right away to the website. That's transparency. It's a small piece, but that's how simple some of these actions could be to achieve, to take us from being non-transparent to being transparent. Some of them, too, that he mentioned don't include the county clerk's office. Some of them are auditor's assignments and other offices as well. The reason I see the county clerk's office as the solution for Tazewell County is because the county clerk is the one responsible for all documentation before the board. So whenever the board receives information, the clerk can take that information and make it transparent on the website. An example, we just ran this cost study that's been in the news for the past month and a half, 2 months concerning our fee structure in Tazewell County. It outlines for us every single fee that we charge. It outlines, is it paying for what we want it to pay for? Is the fee too low? Is the fee too high? It's a wonderful resource that we've been utilizing. You're not going to find this on the county website. It take me 5 minutes to scan this and upload it to the website, and then the taxpayers of Tazewell County can go see the fee structures that we have, what they're paying for, are they justified, and explain to their board members if they see these as needed fees. That type of thing, again, relatively no cost. The document's already been paid for. The copy machine with the scanner is already in the office. That's just a different mindset of, rather than being secretive and rather than not being transparent, changing your mindset to making sure that everything is fully disclosed and being fully transparent.
When you say there's next to no cost to do something like this, to make sure all types of information is on the website, is there a cost though for, I don't know if all counties even have a website or local governments? I mean, there's the matter of having to get a website, committing personnel to that. I would assume those would be the biggest complaints from smaller governments.
There are. So the provision in the law is that local governments with a budget over $1 million would be required to have a website and then post this information online. Now, if you don't have a website, and there's a lot of counties that don't have websites right now, believe it or not, there's 21 counties in Illinois that don't have websites, which is kind of shocking in and of itself. Today is the 25th anniversary of the internet, and being 25 years in to the internet age, it's quite shocking that some local governments don't have websites. To satisfy the requirements of the bill, you do not need a website with all the bells and whistles. You can actually get it done for free, for example, on a WordPress site if you wanted to. However, most communities do elect to, when they have a website, to do more things on the website, and there is a cost associated with that. But you think about it from the other perspective, is that the state is sending $20 billion per year. That's every year. They're sending money to local governments across the state of Illinois. I think that serves as justification to make sure that money is being spent wisely and there's transparency, so the citizens can know how their tax dollars are being spent.
Okay, so only governments with budgets over $1 million would be required.
Correct.
To add to that also, I think any conscionable elected official, it is their responsibility to communicate with their constituents as to what actions they're taking and what is being done with their tax money. So I find it unimaginable that any elected official would be non-transparent, would want to not have a website at this day and age. Like you said, this is the 25th anniversary today of the World Wide Web. We're way past the time period of, hey, is this thing going to work? We know it works. We know that this is where people go to get information. The days of having a brick and mortar office and shutting your doors, and that's, if you come in the door, fine. If not, you don't get the information. That era is gone. It's time to move forward.
One thing that I would like to add to that is that this can also be a cost savings type of thing for local governments. Number one is the deterring of corruption. Ask the people in Dixon, Illinois, who lost $53 million to public corruption, if they would have liked to be more transparent prior to that crisis. But also, it can change the way you do business. There's still a lot of communities out there across the state of Illinois that when it comes time for board meetings, they print out a huge stack of papers. They have the police officers cart those documents out to the board members' houses. That costs a lot of money. If you digitize things, you're able to reduce the cost. The cost of an email is zero. Also, it's something where you can reduce the number of Freedom of Information Act requests that you're getting from the public by showing them that the information is online. So it frees up staff time as well. Transparency can be a money saver, not just something to be seen as an expense.
Do you have any idea when this will be called for a vote for this spring?
Not yet. The bill is currently in rules, and we have an amendment ready for the bill. Currently, the bill that we mentioned is voluntary, and we would make it mandatory. So it says may post, and we'll make that shall post. So that's something that unfortunately, while it's in rules, it's the leadership that decides what committee that it goes to. We can't amend the bill right now, but as soon as it gets out of rules and is assigned to a committee, we'll be working very hard to have that bill pass through and allow the entire General Assembly to vote on it. We're also launching a website, openillinois.org. We're launching that tomorrow, and it's going to be a place where citizens can get more information about the bill, as well as contact their legislators to support the bill. So we encourage people to go to that website to find out more about this initiative and to take action on it.
Well, this is an issue that, I feel is vitally important for Illinois to end the era of corruption, and also to reassure the citizens of what is taking place with the money that they're financing government with. So I thank Brian for coming out today and for taking the lead on this and helping guide this through the State House. And I hope it has my full support, and I hope that it have the support of all legislators to see this get passed. With that, thank you very much, everybody, for coming out. This is my third term on the Tazewell County Board. My term is up in 2014, so I kind of term limited myself. I'm not running for re-election. I'm running for Tazewell County Clerk instead. And I did that also on a basis of, in 2008 when I ran, I laid out my principles of what I wanted to run for. And transparency was one of the big ones. There were some other ones on there as well. I've accomplished everything on that list. So I'm not a believer myself in term limits, but I rather see a position of elected office being you set out objectives that you'd like to accomplish, and when you've done that, it's time to move on. It's time for me to move forward. I've done everything I can as a board member for transparency. Where do I get the rest of it taken care of? As your Tazewell County Clerk. So it's time to move and refocus my energies in that area. Thank you once again.
Thanks.